Imagine this. You've been working hard for years, cutting back on spending, saving every penny, and you're finally seeing some progress. Then, suddenly, your weekly grocery bill jumps by $50. Your dream of owning a home seems further away, and your paycheck, though bigger, doesn't seem to stretch as far. It feels like something's off, right? That's the reality many Americans are facing, and it's about to get more complicated. This isn't just an isolated experience. From small businesses to families, millions of people are going to feel the impact of Trump's second-term policies. But how exactly will it affect you? Will it help, hurt, or just complicate things? Let's dive into what's really going on, break it down piece by piece, and see what you might be able to do about it. It's one of the most talked about aspects of Trump's economic plan. For households earning between $60,000 and $100,000, you could see about $1,000 more in your pocket thanks to lower tax rates and the increase in the standard deduction. It seems like a win in the short term, right? But here's the catch. Cutting taxes means that the government has less revenue, and that could be a problem down the line. Think about it this way. Experts predict that extending these tax cuts could add a jaw-dropping $7.75 trillion to the national debt over the next decade. Now, what does that mean for you? More debt means more pressure on government programs. Social Security, for instance, could face a 33% cut in benefits by 2035. So, while you're saving a little today, what happens when those savings are eaten up by higher taxes or reduced benefits later on? Let's take Sarah's story. Sarah, a single mom juggling 2 jobs, was finally starting to put some money aside for her son's college fund. Then she heard the news. Social Security cuts could be on the horizon. Now she's thinking about her future and wondering whether her retirement savings will be enough to cover her needs. It's a valid concern, and Sarah isn't alone. There are millions of people just like her, wondering how to prepare for an uncertain financial future. So what do you do if you're getting that tax break right now? Invest it wisely. Maybe open a Roth IRA or put it into a high-yield savings account. The reality is, you can't rely solely on tax savings today. Planning for tomorrow is just as important. When you hear the word tariff, it sounds like something abstract, right? But tariffs are essentially taxes on imported goods, and Trump's administration has introduced a 25% tariff on products from Mexico and Canada, plus up to 60% on goods from China. The idea is that by making imported goods more expensive, companies will have to manufacture more in the US, which, in theory, creates jobs. But here's where it gets a little tricky. Harold, a server at a local restaurant, found out firsthand how tariffs can affect everyday life. He was excited when Trump's tax cuts meant a little extra cash in his paycheck. But when he went shopping, he noticed something strange. The prices of basic items like cereal and cleaning supplies had gone up. "I'm saving a little on taxes," Harold said, "but I'm spending so much more on groceries." The reality is, tariffs make things more expensive, and consumers bear the brunt of it. This situation might seem like a paradox. You get a tax cut today, but higher prices tomorrow. Experts, like Thomas Smith from the Brookings Institution, point out that U.S. consumers will inevitably pay more for everyday items. The price of goods is no longer just about the cost of production. It's about the tariff being passed on to consumers. And that could lead to an additional $12,600 in household expenses annually. So how can you protect yourself from these price hikes? It's simple. Be mindful of your spending habits. When shopping, ask yourself, do I really need this? Consider buying in bulk or choosing generic brands where possible. And if you're looking for long-term protection, investing in stocks or real estate might be a way to safeguard your wealth from inflation. Trump has laid out plans to increase domestic oil production with the hope of reducing America's reliance on foreign oil. On paper, this sounds like a good thing. After all, the U.S. is already the largest producer of oil, and boosting domestic production could, in theory, lower gas prices. But gas prices aren't just influenced by how much oil we produce. They're also affected by global supply and demand. Even if the U.S. becomes more self-sufficient, global market forces like OPEC, geopolitical tensions, and refinery outages will still play a big role in how much you pay at the pump. The fluctuations in energy prices are driven by factors that are largely out of the U.S.'s control. Take Mike, for example. Mike commutes an hour each way to work every day. He's frustrated with how much he's paying for gas, and any drop in prices would be a win for him. But Mike knows that even with changes in energy production, small adjustments, like carpooling, using public transportation, or driving a fuel-efficient vehicle, could save him money. Sometimes the best way to save on gas isn't just to hope for cheaper prices, it's to find smarter ways to get around. Home ownership is a dream for many Americans, but with rising interest rates and escalating home prices, it's becoming more difficult to achieve. Trump's policy aims to cut housing regulations and open federal land for new development to increase the housing supply and lower prices. But while this sounds good in theory, home prices are often driven by more than just supply. They're influenced by interest rates. Rachel's story perfectly illustrates this. Rachel has been saving for years to buy her first home, but every time she gets close to her down payment goal, home prices rise. She hopes that Trump's housing policies will provide some relief, but she's also realistic. Price reductions won't mean much if interest rates continue to climb. Experts like Sarah Miller from the Urban Institute agree that interest rates are the real bottleneck in the housing market. Lower home prices won't make much of a difference if mortgage rates are sky high, Miller explains. If you're hoping to buy a home, now might be a good time to act, but be prepared for higher rates. Do some research on areas with increased housing supply, work on improving your credit score, and save for a larger down payment to lock in better mortgage terms. Healthcare remains one of the most uncertain aspects of Trump's policy. Trump has consistently expressed his desire to repeal the Affordable Care Act, ACA, and replace it with something better, but the details are still unclear. A modification or repeal of the ACA could lead to higher premiums for individuals and reduced coverage. Those relying on government assistance for health insurance could see their options shrink, leading to potential coverage gaps. James, a freelance graphic designer, relies on the ACA for his health insurance. He's worried about what will happen if the ACA is repealed. Healthcare is already expensive enough, he says. I don't know how I'll manage if I end up paying more or losing coverage entirely. Experts like Dr. Emily Richards from the Healthcare Policy Institute stress the uncertainty surrounding healthcare reform. The potential for coverage loss and increased premiums is a real threat to families, particularly those without employer-sponsored health plans. How do Trump's policies compare to those of previous presidents? Trump's economic policies differ from his predecessors in several key ways. While Obama's policies focused on recovery through stimulus and healthcare reform, Trump's focus has been on deregulation, tax cuts, and a more protectionist stance, especially when it comes to trade. Trump's approach to trade has been far more isolationist compared to Obama's more globalist approach, which included free trade agreements like the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP. While Obama's policies aimed at creating a more interconnected global economy, Trump's tariffs aim to bring jobs back to the U.S. But this protectionist stance also comes with trade-offs: higher prices for consumers and potential retaliation from trading partners. So, Trump's economic policies bring both opportunities and challenges. While tax cuts and deregulation might offer short-term benefits, there are long-term consequences we can't ignore, from growing national debt to higher consumer costs due to tariffs. These policies will not only affect workers, but could also threaten long-term benefits like Social Security and healthcare. But remember this: no matter what the government does, the ultimate control over your financial future lies in your hands. The decisions you make every day, whether it's how you spend, invest, or plan for the future, will determine your financial stability. There's no one-size-fits-all solution, but understanding the potential changes and preparing proactively will help you minimize risks and make the most of new opportunities. Start preparing now. These policies could go into effect faster than you think, and if you're not prepared, you could be caught off guard when the changes start affecting your wallet. Don't wait any longer. If you haven't started financial planning, investing, or saving, now is the time. Start building a strong financial foundation for the future. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about these policies? How will they impact your finances? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any future updates from Cashkeys. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.